What, did you just decide to take this one off? I think you were in this movie longer than he was. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy John from Project Ellsworth, and I am back with you today to give you my review of the 2000 film Hellraiser Inferno. Is that Hellraiser 5? It's not Hellraiser 5 Inferno, it's just Hellraiser Inferno. But yeah, it is part 5. As always, I hope everybody out there is doing well, staying safe. All right, where to begin? Hellraiser Inferno. This film is basically about a bad cop who, the movie starts off, he's doing coke and he's picking up hookers and explaining that he's picking up these hookers so that he can stay happy in his marriage. If you saw his wife almost looks like a blonde Amanda Peet. Apparently this guy's not happy with that. He's got to go out and pick up hookers and do coke with them. So he very obviously is a crooked cop. He starts to screw around with the lament box, or what's it, the lament puzzle, the lament configuration is what I think they refer to it in this movie as. The damn Hellraiser puzzle box. He screws around with the puzzle box. It jangles up his head, and he starts, like, people start dropping like flies around him. This whole movie I don't know, man. This whole movie felt like a big, long, like 90 minutes of this cop, like, dropping acid or doing mushrooms or something. Everybody's dying, and then, like, nobody's dying, and he, like, double crosses his partner. There's dead hookers in this movie. There's multiple murders where the one common thread with all the murders is there's like a finger left behind. He's trying to find a kidnapped boy who apparently has been kidnapped by somebody called the Engineer. But the boy, I don't know, confused as shit about this part. The boy seems to be the dirty cop, but I'm telling you, like I said, this whole thing feels like a real bad trip to me. But oddly, I like this movie more than I liked Hellraiser 3, and I liked it more than Hellraiser 4. What the hell was part 4 called? Bloodlines. I liked it more than Hell on Earth, and I liked it more than Bloodlines. Didn't like it as much as the first two, but I liked it more than those. This movie's story was more compelling for me than those other two that I mentioned were. I thought part 4 was garbage, and I wasn't crazy about part 3. Losing track of here. Maybe I'm the one on the acid trip. This movie was like almost massively confusing, but I think it was done on purpose. I don't even know how to describe this. This guy messes with this box, and then he seems like he's going in and out of reality. And he's going back and forth in time. He'll be in one time period, go through a door, and then he'll be himself as a little boy, which is why I get the impression that the little boy that he sees in this movie is himself as a little boy. He sees his wife and his daughter healthy. He sees them dead. He sees them like frozen and crumbling, but then everything's fine. He double crosses his partner at one point in this movie, and then he sees his partner die, but his partner's fine. So you really get lost in this movie with where reality ends and fiction begins. Fiction may not be like an altered reality. It's very odd. I thought this movie was very strange. This movie felt to me like the people who wrote this movie said, why don't we write a movie that's like 7? Screw that. Let's write a movie that's almost like a TV cop drama. The hell with that. Let's write a movie where the cop is not only the good guy, he's the bad guy. Fuck it. Let's just write a Hellraiser movie. Let's use all those ideas and make it and call it Hellraiser Inferno. My biggest complaint about this movie is Pinhead. All right, so the runtime of this movie is like an hour and 39 minutes. There is a flash of Pinhead in this movie. That, you see that right there? That Pinhead was in this first hour and 20 minutes longer than the actual Pinhead was. Pinhead does not... There's a flash of him somewhere within the first hour of this movie. But he does not actually show up as himself, as Pinhead, on screen with any significance whatsoever until this movie hits 1 hour and 20 minutes. And at that time, he's on screen for, I would honestly say, less than 1 minute. And then 10 minutes later, when it hits the 1 hour and 30 minute mark, he's on screen for 3 minutes. We'll call it 3 minutes. So now we are at the end of the movie. The credits start rolling at 1 hour and 36 minutes. So the credits roll for about 3 minutes, and the credits, I say, appear on screen longer or as long as Pinhead does. It's pretty ridiculous. I sincerely think Doug Bradley said, yeah, I'll do this movie, but it's got to be quick because I got other shit to do. The 3 minutes that he's on screen at the hour and a half mark or 90-minute mark are pretty damn cool. And the effects in that scene are also pretty damn cool. But Pinhead in this movie is pretty non-existent. The only Cenobites that appear in this movie on any kind of basis are these two females that look like dominatrix catfish. I don't even know what the hell you would call that, but that's what they look like. And then there's another Cenobite. Remember, I think if you watched my other review or if you saw Hellraiser 4, there's a dog that chatters in that movie, and he reminded me of Hellraiser 4's version of Chatterbox. In this movie, there's a thing that crawls around on the floor that's nothing but like arms and shoulders and a head. And he crawls around. He looks like this. This is that Cenobite. And he chatters. He's all white and he chatters. So this is Hellraiser 5's version of Chatterbox. Cenobites in this movie are far and few between, and the ones that are there are kind of stupid looking. I mean, the Chatterbox looking thing, he was probably the coolest looking Cenobite in this movie other than the obvious Pinhead. But Pinhead ain't really in this movie. It's like minimal amount of time that he's in this movie. Another thing that I thought was kind of weak, that the cast. I'd take that. I don't know. Was the cast weak? Like I said, you had the Amanda Peet looking girl in this movie. The main character in this movie is the guy that you think, when I see this guy, I immediately think of Nightbreed. I don't remember what the hell his name is. I don't know what any of these people's names are, except for Doug Bradley was Pinhead. But you got the guy from Nightbreed, and you have the guy who was the bad guy in, I think it was 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. Then you got his partner, or the main character's partner, that gets double-crossed in this movie. He is the dude who basically played Tracy Morgan's girlfriend in the remake of The Longest Yard. I guess the cast was okay. I'm not real crazy about that Nightbreed guy. For some reason, I just don't like that dude. I don't know why I don't like him. Just don't like him, and I'm allowed to not like that guy. The one thing that I didn't like was the guy who was supposed to be the engineer, I think that was his name, the engineer in this movie. As soon as I saw him, I knew who the engineer was. It was basically like no thought involved at all. If you watch a lot of movies, you see this character actor, and you pretty much know, you go, that's a guy who plays bad guys. So you immediately know who the engineer is. I don't know. This movie was, I guess the budget couldn't have been too high because they couldn't have paid Doug Bradley much. And there's not really a lot of known actors in here. I mean, you got the guy from Nightbreed. They reached back to another Clive Barker movie and grabbed him. You know what? There's another character in this movie I thought was really freaking weird. the fingers that they find everywhere. You got this one character who's got this real long tongue. He can take his tongue and burn the fingerprints off of all these severed fingers. He looks like a combination of, what's his name, Decker from Nightbreed, and Slender Man, and the Collector. He looks like a combination, like a weird combination of those three characters. The Collector was way better than this movie was, and he was a way cooler character. I digress. I don't know. If you're a fan of the Hellraiser franchise, I would assume that this movie's possibly one of the ones you like more. I didn't even want to go down this path. I don't know why I did this to myself. I love Hellraiser, the original Hellraiser. Almost call it Hellraiser 1. It's just called Hellraiser. Hellraiser 2 was Hellbound, was a pretty damn good movie. And then it starts to just shit the bed for me. I don't know. Well, I'm going to make it through all these eventually, and I'll do a ranking. But it's real hard to subject myself to doing this. I'm going to do it, but I'm not a big fan. This franchise as a whole probably falls pretty low on my charts of favorite horror franchises, which really sucks because the original Hellraiser film is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's fantastic. How many characters have ever been created that are more freaking badass than Pinhead is? And the puzzle box, or the lament configuration, that thing's amazing. I don't know. So yeah, Hellraiser Inferno. Hey, here's another complaint. By definition, Inferno is like a gigantic blazing fire. There's no fire in this movie. And here's one more complaint. I'm bitching a lot about this movie, and this is like middle of the road for me in this franchise so far. The girl who's in Hellraiser 4 is on the movie poster, or the cover art for this movie. She's not in the movie at all. No mention of her. You don't see her. She's not in it. A little weird. I'm getting out of here. Let me know down in the comments section what you thought of this movie. Did you like it more than 3 and 4? Where does it fall in your rankings of this franchise? It's kind of painful. I actually watched half of this movie last night and half of this movie this morning, because I knew that last night there was no doubt about it that if I kept going, I was falling asleep. And I like this movie more than the other two, so that tells you how much I just absolutely love them other two movies. I'm going. I'm getting out of here. Leave some comments down below. You know all that stuff. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really like this video and you've been enjoying my content up to this point, please do me a huge personal favor. Click that subscribe button and ring that bell. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have a kick-ass day. And thank you for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody. Later.